the fact you've managed to get 18 payouts with Alpha is crazy.
Trading, although it can be like mainly objective, there will be elements of discretion, and you can only develop that element of discretion through experience. Unprofitable traders will still find something to blame. They'll blame their situation, they'll blame prop firms, they'll blame the market makers. They'll look for any excuse under the sun to make sure that they're not getting the blame. But you're the only one accountable for your profitability.
Where in your journey did you find Alpha? Where did you start getting payouts? When did you start seeing that success?
I purchased my first account with Alpha Capital in 2023,
Amazing.
And then I passed on my fourth challenge. I got 2 payouts. When I tell you that this strategy was so basic, it was literally like, if I was to summarize it, it was literally just trading with the 4-hour trend, and it was entry on a 1-hour candle on a double bottom pattern, and then coming back to it. So 2 years into my corporate job, I realized I hate this. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I need to find alternative sources of income. So I've done everything under the sun. I've tried drop shipping, Amazon FBA, anything to make extra income. But then I came back to trading.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Alpha Capital YouTube channel. Today we're going to have a great podcast with Robbie here, a alpha trader who has been consistent, shown consistency, man. Got over 18 payouts with ACG, and we're going to find out how he's managed to achieve that consistency. So Robbie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man.
Let's start at the beginning, man. How did you get into trading?
So I originally started trading in 2018. That's when I found out about it.
Okay.
I think it was mostly from like YouTube, and as we said off air, like these YouTube ads that come up about becoming rich overnight.
Yeah.
So I started trading. I probably stuck to that for about maybe a few months, maybe a year. I can't remember exactly, but at the time I was at university as well. After a few months, it wasn't really going anywhere, so I just decided to quit trading. I was like, this is just a scam. I finished my university degree, and then I went into a corporate job like you do, just traditional route. And I worked in banking for 4 years. After that, yeah. So that's how I got introduced to it. And then coming back to it, so 2 years into my corporate job, I realized I hate this. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I need to find alternative sources of income. So I've done everything under the sun. I've tried drop shipping, Amazon FBA, anything to make extra income. But then I came back to trading. I found out about prop firms, and I guess when I originally started trading, I didn't know what prop firms were. They weren't like a big thing in 2018.
Yeah.
But so I found out about prop firms in 2023, around early mid 2023. And ACG was actually the first prop firm that I took, prop firm account.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, we started off on the right foot. That's good, man.
So I can tell you exactly how I found out about ACG. So do you know Zaki?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cypher Zaki.
Yeah.
So I used to follow him when before he started trading, he used to do like other sort of content. And I remember he put a promo out for ACG, and I was like, like it was a good discount. So I took out the offer up on the discount, and that's when I got back into trading. So I literally jumped back straight into prop firms, like from that gap in between, and yeah, I started trading with ACG from then. I started off with 50Ks, just because 10Ks and 25Ks, etc. I always done the calculation of what percentage I would need to make a living.
Yeah.
And I was thinking on a 10 and 25, I can't make a living even if I pass them. So let me just jump straight into the deep end, and I'll see where things go from here. So yeah, that's kind of how it started.
That's brilliant, man.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I do think that while someone's developing an edge and developing a strategy, that using the free trials, doing like 5K challenges, 10K challenges, I think it's a good way to cut your teeth. And I also think that, or just to get some experience prop trading, right? Because sometimes someone might breach some stupid rule, or they might just do something silly that they like, just making mistakes while they're starting out. That those are the kind of mistakes you want to make on a 5K account.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree with you.
You don't want to be like, oh man, I accidentally deleted my stop loss, or I accidentally I didn't realize that it was NFP that day and it just blew through my. If you do that on a 5K, you're like, okay, well, it's stupid.
It is what it is.
But I've learned. But you do that on 100K, 200K.
It hurts.
Yeah, you don't want to be making beginner mistakes on that.
In hindsight, I probably should have started off on smaller. But again, the journey is the journey. I don't.
Oh yeah, 100%,
I don't. In hindsight, I can sit and say, "Oh, I could have cut my journey by about 50% of the time if I just did this and this." Right. But you need, everyone's journey is different.
Yeah.
Mine is. I think the length of time it took me to become profitable is okay. Like, it's not. I met some of the other traders. They're profitable in like a very short amount of time for, what is considered the average. I would say mine is probably average time. But
100%.
But yeah,
yeah. Well, the thing is as well is that it's not like, it's amazing that there are traders who've managed to get decent success in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But equally, when they inevitably hit a losing streak, how are they going to cope with it, right? That's the thing. If you have been doing it for long enough that you've had the wins, you've had the losses, you've had this and that.
Yeah.
It's not about, are you consistently profitable yet or not?
Yeah.
It's about how much experience you have had being in drawdown, being up, being down, taking wins, taking losses. And at the end of the day, you can't rush that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
And I'm someone as well. I'm very much like at peace with the fact that my journey couldn't have been sped up, right? It's one of these things, like, you could get someone who is like they've done a 5-year university degree on, like, say we're a neuroscientist, right? Or say someone wants to be like a brain surgeon. Imagine someone at the end of their course like thinking, oh man, if only I knew when I started this course what I know now.
Yeah.
It's like, that's impossible, isn't it? That's why you took 5 years to study, right?
Hindsight is an amazing thing, but it's what makes I guess it's what you call experience now, right?
Yeah.
So
and learning is a process. Like, I've come to terms with the fact that, like, I wish that, if you've seen The Matrix, where he's just like, okay, I need to learn kung fu, so they just download it into his head, and then he's like, okay, I know it now. Like, I wish learning was like that. I used to think it was, man. I used to think that I could watch this YouTube video, the one strategy that made me $10,000, and I'd watch it and I'd assimilate it into my brain.
Yeah.
And the next day, I would be able to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's like you don't realize that, like, learning is a process, man. It doesn't matter, like, how much content you consume in such a short amount of time. Like, the amount of time it actually takes for you to develop proficiency at something, it's just, you can't rush that,
and even then, after like all these years, like, I'm sure you'll agree, you're always learning. Like, it's not, the learning doesn't stop, right? Like, every week with trading, you're just like you're progressing, you're refining your strategy, you're looking for something that can give you that extra 0.5 R maybe, or these small things, and in the long term, that's what makes the difference. And I think even in my journey, I'm still, even though I am profitable now, I'm always looking at other traders. I'm also active in the trading Twitter space. Like, it's faceless. I don't really like showing my face generally, but
well, it's nice that you've popped on today. But I get it. I did the same thing for a very long time.
I mean, this is very much out of my comfort zone. Like, I was like, do I do it? Do I not do it? But I was like, I might regret it later, because I love watching these podcasts, and it was always been my dream to be on one of these podcasts. But I just, like, right now, I mean, I had a word with one of my friends. I was like, it feels a bit premature, because I don't know. Like, I've watched people, like, I was talking to you off air about Bani. Like, he's...
Yeah, shout out to Bani, man. He's the real deal. He's the real deal.
Like, we were talking
if
about...
anyone hasn't watched that podcast, by the way, watch it on the channel. It's so good. He's incredible.
With, like, Bani, he's like, in my opinion, like a complete trader. He gets the consistent funding, the consistent payouts, and he always talks about it. And it's just... he always looks like he's got his psychology in check, and that's the hardest part about trading, because even now I don't think I've got, my psychology is not 100% there. So, but the fact that I'm on a podcast, like, I'm obviously, I feel very privileged, and I can obviously talk about my experiences, and it might help other traders, but I still have aspirations to keep progressing and get, significantly better.
Well, it's funny you say it, because when we were talking to Barney, he was sort of in the same position where he was saying that I'm happy where I am now, but I'm just at the beginning, right? And that, to me, that's not a bad, that's a sign of someone who's driven, right? It's saying, I still feel like there's so much more that I can do, because there is, man. I think every trader, every trader, man, is like, things are going well, but I know I'm capable of so much more, and I know I can do so much more. I know I can improve. And that's a great thing, right? If you can wake up every morning knowing that you have the potential to do better,
of course,
then it forces you to do it, right? And it stops you getting complacent. So, no, I get what you're saying, and like, obviously, like, imposter syndrome is sort of a real thing, especially in a space where everyone seems to be crushing it, right? That's the thing. If you kind of take social media at face value,
of course,
you think it looks like everyone's crushing it, man, because no one's posting their blown accounts, man. No, right? So I think the other thing to remember as well is like shout out to like Claudia, who's a relatively new trader. She's now funded 100K with Alpha Futures and is making content about it. And she was saying the same thing, like about getting a bit of backlash about saying, well, I don't have my penthouse apartment yet and my G-Wagon, so I don't feel like I should be posting stuff about trading, right?
Yeah.
And the fact is that people are at different stages in their journey, and people watching the content are all in different stages of their journey. And for some people, they need to see people who are what appears to be in the middle of their journey, right? Because if all the content that's out there is just people that have been trading for 15 years and are kind of like at the upper echelons of like where we're trying to get to, it doesn't always give you the most amount of insight in what the journey looks like.
I agree.
Right?
I agree. Yeah.
And that's what I like about your story is you've got a really interesting journey.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we're here to kind of explore, man.
Yeah. Of course. No. I agree with you. It's everyone's so quick to show. It's easy to show stuff when you're winning. Like, it's easy to show your payouts. It's easy to show when you've got funded accounts or passing funding. It's easy to show the BMW that you bought with your payout money. But no one sees, like, first of all, you have to think about how many people, out of 100 traders, how many of those people are actually making it to that level.
Yeah.
It's maybe like 2, 3, 4, I don't know, but it's very finite amount. It gives traders an unrealistic expectation of how, first of all, what they can achieve and how quickly they can achieve it. There's nothing to say that you can't achieve it, but you need to put realistic timelines on how you, like, when you're going to achieve it, right?
Yeah.
Because I can join someone's mentorship that's doing 100K a month. That doesn't mean I'm going to do 100K a month, because their understanding of the market and your understanding of the market are completely different, right? They've got experience, they've got discretion. Like, trading, although it can be like mainly objective, there will be elements of discretion, and you can only develop that element of discretion through experience. No one can teach you that. So people, for anyone watching this, just understand that it's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. No, it is a skill. And I mean, I guess a little bit of a sort of confession here, because I guess I didn't sort of realize this when I started, but back when I'd say my first year of trading, I was not consistently profitable, right?
Yeah.
But I'd take a sick trade, and what do you do when you're excited? You like post it on your Instagram story, right?
Yeah.
I put it on there, I'd be like, oh mate, just hit 10R, hit an 8R trade, blah, blah, blah. Look at this day. I'd have a great day, so I'd post that day page from my journal, do you know what I mean? Being like, oh mate,
It's your private Instagram or your public, like your business, like your trading,
like my trading one, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because I just had a trading Instagram, like, I mean, it's still got no post on it now, but I just post stuff on my story, just because, you know, I was just sharing what was going on. You're excited about stuff, and you know, I'd have a particular day, and I'd be like, it's crazy, like I haven't lost a trade today, so I'll post up this page being like 100% wins today, or you know, I've made 5% today or whatever. And I kept on doing that because, like, you know, something cool happens, you want to share it.
Yeah.
Something bad happens and you don't want to share it, right? And you don't really think about it. And I remember, like, way after that, chatting to, like, someone who was like, oh, like, I bumped into someone again and was like, oh, I remember seeing you on Instagram. I remember you because we were in the same community together a long time ago and blah, 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 blah. And they were saying, like, just talking about the trading then. And I said, yeah, like, I was really sort of struggling. I was sort of finding my way. And they were like, I thought you were like crushing it, bro. I thought you were like consistently. I said, and because anytime I saw anything you were posting, it was just win.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about it. And I was like, yeah, I guess that is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Right? But for me, it was just like that classic thing of social media. It's a highlight reel. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you're sat on a boring, packed train commuting to work, you're not going to take a picture of that and put it on your Instagram. But if you're there on a beach in Bali with a cocktail, you're like, let's put a picture on my Instagram, right? It's like a highlight reel.
Yeah.
But people need to realize that, like, in trading, it can be like that. Like, a lot of the stuff that is on social media is just the wins.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, so circling back anyway to, like, the journey, like we said, right? So because you started trading, then you stopped for a bit, and then you tried all this other stuff, like you said, dropshipping, e-commerce and stuff.
Yeah.
What was it about trading that sort of brought you back to it? How did you kind of decide to tackle it this time? Were you like, okay, I'm going to make this actually happen this time, right? Because obviously if it didn't the first time.
Yeah. So to be honest, I don't remember like all the details, but I just remember coming back to, and just like, first of all, I bought a 50K prop firm account. Like, bearing in mind I've not even like looked into any more strategies or whatever, then I think I just went on YouTube, started looking for strategies. Also, I guess one thing to say is in my trading journey, I've never bought a mentorship in my life. Like I'm self-taught like entirely. Yeah, I have bought signals, like that's like everyone's bought.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's
at
been
the
scammed
start.
by signalers saying,
Yeah.
I have a 90% win rate. You jump into the signal chat. Next thing you know, they've taken 4 or 5 losses in a row, and I'm just sat there thinking like, you know, like where's this 90% win rate statistic coming from? But yeah, no, I never bought a mentorship. I'm fully self-taught, so everything I'd learned is just from YouTube. So I'd literally go on YouTube and type in like a strategy on the 1 hour time frame or a strategy on the 4 hour time frame, bearing in mind I have a job, so I have to go for the slightly higher time frames.
Yeah.
And also I never bought TradingView Premium, so I've never back tested actually, like properly. I've never back tested.
Okay.
Yeah, so my back, and I was having this chat with a friend the other day. My back testing was literally taking a loss and journaling or assessing it after.
Yeah.
And I would look at what I could have done better. And even now, actually, I don't have TradingView Premium, even though I am profitable.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, but people are going to call me frugal or whatever you want to call me, but I just have no need for it because with the alerts, I don't really use alerts that often, so I don't need more than 2 alerts at one given time. Replay mode, I know my strategy, so I don't need replay mode. And also with replay mode, I find that it's like taking a mock exam. You can get an A star in a mock exam, but when the pressure's on in the real thing, are you going to get an A star? It's just a complete different situation, and it's not a fair representation of the market. So that's why I don't use replay mode. I'm not saying that people who do use replay modes are it's a bad thing or you shouldn't use it. Each to their own. You know, if it works for you, then it works for you. But for me, I just never needed it, so I never committed to a subscription with TradingView, and I've just stuck with what I know. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like bar replay and backtesting in that sense it's very useful as a proof of concept. Like if you're trying to develop a strategy and you're like, I need to get some data that this works, then going through years and years of data, doing that is fantastic.
Yeah.
With that said, if you've got a strategy already
Yeah.
that you have confidence works, or someone else has back tested for 4 years and knows it works and gives you the strategy, for example, on paper, you don't really need to backtest that, right?
No.
And it just comes down to then, okay, that's the framework, and you have a proven framework.
Yeah.
Now it's up to you to execute it, right? And that's where I think live trading, there's no substitute for that, right? Because you have to see those bars printing in real life.
Yeah.
You have to be patient.
Yeah.
You know, on bar replay, you can just like click, click, click,
Yeah,
click,
yeah,
click,
and
click,
then
click,
and
click,
then
click.
try sitting through 12 hours of just consolidation, and then try going to sleep at night with your trade like playing out. Like you'll be sleeping with anxiety. You wake up at 4 a.m. to check your phone. So with replay mode, you will never get those emotions, which is why I don't really like. You can use it to develop a strategy, but you'll never be able to fix your psychology with using replay mode. The only way you can fix that is with time and experience and taking losses and refinement, right? So this is why I just never needed it. And like we were saying earlier, we've lost so much. We've probably lost more than the average person's tried. Right, so
100%. Yeah.
So like that's where you build your mental like strength from. Like your psychology strengthens just from losing, because you become numb eventually, like to the losing.
100%.
Like a loss doesn't affect me anymore. Like, but the thing is, as you become profitable, you also know that with losses, one win can wipe out so many losses, and that's something you can only get once you've got that proof of concept and that confidence in your ability, right? So. I mean, that's the journey, and I think a lot of people, they're not willing to accept it. You are going to lose. There's no 100% win rate strategy.
Oh, the thing is, we all say that and we know that, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course, there's not 100% win rate strategy. Of course,
we're looking for it.
I know.
We're looking for it, but it's not there.
Robbie, why do the losses hurt so bad then?
No. And again,
it's crazy, isn't it? Because you think like to be consistently profitable, you can have a 50% win rate. You can have a 40% win rate.
50% is actually very good.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like. Yeah. And if I'm talking to someone and they're like, yeah, what's your win rate? Oh, it's like 50%. I'm like, wow, that's really good.
Yeah, that's pretty good, yeah.
Bro, if I have a 50% win day, I'm crying at night. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh gosh, that loss.
I lost one, I won one. Oh my
I know,
God.
I suck. No, and it's like, come on, man.
And again, for the viewers, it's not. That's not to say that the losses still don't hurt. They still hurt. You just know how to manage the emotions. I don't lose and I jump straight back into a trade thinking I see my A+. I take my loss. and I'll assess the markets. I mean, sometimes there is like a setup forming that I could take on the same day, but the reality is of you finding your A plus straight after taking a loss is very unrealistic, because especially with me, I probably place anywhere from like let's say 2 to 5 trades. Like the frequency is like a few times a week.
Yeah. Because you're trading like high time frames, like 1 hour to 4 hours.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So usually it's my main time frame is 4 hours, but then I use the 1 hour and 15 minutes for entries. So you can imagine I'm in trades from on average anywhere from like, let's say 6 hours to 2 days. Like it depends how quickly it plays out.
Okay.
And I use a 1 to 3. Regardless of how experienced you are, the losses will still hurt, and seeing your accounts in drawdown, it will still hurt. But once you've got that proof of concept, you trust your ability to pull yourself out of that drawdown and make things work. So that's something that you can only develop over time. And
so trading the higher time frames, I mean, there's pros and cons to almost everything in trading.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the pros, like you said, of trading the higher time frames is that there's only so many trades you can take in a day. It kind of forces you to take time to reflect. One piece of advice that I got, and I do think is really, really good, I think I share it where I can, is that when you're sort of in fight or flight mode, right? Like once your heart rate is actually like elevated, which you don't really want to trade like that. You want to be chill when you trade.
Yeah.
If you're trading on the lower time frames, because you're paying such attention, it's sort of like playing a video game, right? So you're kind of locked in. If you're in that state and you take a loss, if you get to the stage where you are annoyed, right? You are tangibly irritated, right? You've got that sort of like it hurt a bit, and we know that feeling, right? That sting, the sting of the loss.
Yeah.
At that point, the blood that's in your brain is in like a certain part of your brain, which kind of is just based off of like reflex, impulse, right? That fight or flight type part of your brain.
Yeah.
And it takes 5 minutes, guys, for the blood to get to the proper part of your brain so you can start thinking properly again.
Okay.
So the one piece of advice that I implement, and I have implemented, and it has saved me, it's probably the best thing I've done, is whenever I take a loss, I get my phone out and say, hey Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes. And I am not allowed to re-enter for at least that. I know it seems stupid. For someone who trades on like the 4 hours, like, what do you mean? But if you're trading on like the 1 minute, the 5 minute, it's very easy to justify, I just got swept out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a manipulation.
Yeah.
It's going to go in my direction, right? I promise you, your A plus setup is not going to happen within 5 minutes of you getting stopped out. It's not going to happen, right? But in the moment, you just think, let me just hit buy or let me just hit sell. So that's one thing I'd say is like, just for anyone who trades intraday, when you take a loss, just actually set a timer for 5 minutes, close your eyes and breathe and wait for the oxygen to get back into your brain. Yeah. And then you can actually think. Whereas on the higher time frame, you kind of got the ability to like, okay, it probably won't set up till next day anyway, right?
Yeah.
So that is the benefit.
It's got its benefits and drawbacks. I think the main benefit is on the like you said, do you consider 4 hour, 1 hour like intraday or?
That's tough, isn't it? I mean, technically they are. I'd say like 1 hour is probably in.
Because I never considered myself a higher time frame trader. It's more like in the middle of low time frame and high time frame. Yeah. Because I'm not a swing trader, so but I'm also not scalping the markets. Like I consider people who are trading on the 1 minute, 5 minute scalpers, really. So I
mean, it depends who you talk to. It's one of these things, like, because some people say higher time frame are people that trade like the weekly chart.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're like holding daily, position for dailies. 6 months. Yeah.
So I don't consider myself. But anyways,
it's all sort of relative. Yeah,
coming back to the point, it's a lot easier to hold on to accounts when you trade on the time frames I do, because first of all, I'm only taking a few trades a week. And that's not to say I can't hit as many RR as the people who are trading on the lower time frames. I'm just looking for higher quality setups with less noise. And also the other fact is I usually stop trading after like 1 loss or 2 loss on the days. It depends what time the losses happen, because if I've taken my loss for the day in London, then I'll probably trade New York and see if there's something available. But it depends, because if I don't see my A plus or A plus criteria, my strategy is relatively objective. So if I don't see what I need to see, then I'll just leave it for the day. Because the other side of it is, like, how many times have you taken a trade that you know you probably shouldn't be in? You took the loss, and then you reflect after and you think, had I not taken that trade, my account would have been only X amount from out, like I would have been this close to getting out of drawdown. Now I've just doubled my deficit, and now I have to win even bigger now to get out of drawdown. How many times do people say that? I bet everyone in the beginning says that.
Yeah.
And so as you become more experienced, you become better at managing your emotions. So I'll take a loss. It is what it is. Similar to you, I'll walk away. I'll go get a cup of tea, and I'll sometimes though I'm so like annoyed about the loss, I'll start reflecting, journaling immediately. Sometimes it's better to walk away and then come back and journal later when your mind is more refreshed. But I'll journal straight away just because I'm so angry at myself. I need to like make a note to myself that I need to like not do this. I don't know.
Most of my journal notes I'm quite harsh to myself. I must say.
Like calling yourself names. Like why'd you take this? You become better at managing your emotions, and journaling is one of the biggest things that made me a profitable trader. Like honestly, like from when I was not making consistent payouts to then when I started making consistent payouts, journaling was that one thing. And people will say, it's not that big a thing. Like, why are you writing in a book? Like, how's that going to make a difference? But it's being able to reflect on your weaknesses, put that in a book. Like, you can write about your strengths, but writing about your strengths isn't really going to help you as much as writing about your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Write about what you can do better next time, what you need to get better at doing, and then slowly implementing it. Again, it's not going to change overnight, but if you are conscious about those things, like if you know you're looking for a specific thing in the market, it's like a specific confluence. If you wrote that in your journal, you should take action and make sure that you're waiting for that confluence before you enter your trades. If you said you were only going to risk 1%, make sure you're only risking 1%. But at the end of the day, it's only you're only accountable. That's one thing I like about trading, that you're the only one accountable.
You can't blame no one else.
I can't blame no one else. Yeah. There are people, unprofitable traders will still find something to blame. They'll blame their situation, they'll blame prop firms, they'll blame the market makers. They'll look for any excuse under the sun to make sure that they're not getting the blame. But you're the only one accountable for your profitability, and you'll never become profitable if you can't take that accountability and fix those problems, right? So that's one thing I like about trading, because I'm quite harsh on myself. I'm quite self-reflective.
Yeah.
I know if I've, like, let's say I've done something wrong, I know I've done something wrong, and I'll try and fix that. I like being the driver of my own car.
Yes.
And when I worked corporate, I wasn't the driver of my own car. I was the passenger. I was just driven somewhere and dropped off, and wherever I was dropped off, I was expected to just go there, and I didn't like that. So no,
it's funny when you say about being the driver, like the driver's got all the responsibility, right?
Of course.
But you got the freedom. It's like you can decide where you want to go, but you've also responsible if you crash or not, right? So taking on that responsibility and taking the leap and being like, I'm doing this myself, it's the responsibility. Like I say, it can't be like scary or whatever, but it's the only way to make sure you're going the direction you want to go, right?
Yeah, of course. And that also ties in with like signal services.
Yep.
I can accept losing based on my own trading strategy and losing on my own terms. But when I took signals, it hurt even more knowing that I was expecting someone else to give me like a magic recipe, and it was losing. Like, it hurt even more.
Yeah.
And also knowing that it wasn't sustainable. Even if I did find a signal service that was profitable, imagine that guy decides one day he doesn't want to offer that service anymore. That's my income completely cut off.
Yeah.
So it's not sustainable to use other people's signals. I think it's always better to that saying, teach a man to fish for a lifetime. Like,
if you give a man a fish, you only feed him for a day.
Yeah, exactly. Ties into trading, right? It'll hurt for like maybe even years. The first few years it will hurt, but as long as you're always aiming for progression, the thing is, you have to remember, we're aiming for progression, not perfection.
Yeah.
So aim to get better every single week, and eventually you will be profitable. You'll never be perfect. Even the best traders in the world aren't perfect. They take losses. If you look at their P&L, you'll see there is reds, but you always see the blues are like 3-4 times the size of the reds, right?
Exactly.
And that's something you will learn to control as you become more experienced. So
100%. Like I say, it's just getting that net result that's positive, right? I always think about, if you had this table, like this beautiful table here, and you had like a marble in the middle of it, if the table was tilted ever so slightly to that side, the marble would just roll off. Even if it was tilted all the way that side, the marble would roll off. Or even if it was just a little bit, if you put it in the middle, it still would.
It still would roll off, yeah.
And that's kind of like those times we're trying to find profitability. And being profitable is just dip. It's just having it tilted very slightly this way. So it's not like, oh, the table needs to be vertical. It's not like I only take wins. It's just like, no. You're going to take some wins, take some losses. But on net, it's just going to keep going in that direction.
Yeah.
And just tilt it, just tilting the scales in the right way. So throughout your journey, obviously, you said you started journaling and then that helped you with your profitability.
Yeah.
Where in your journey did you find alpha? Where did you start getting payouts? When did you start seeing that success?
So like, as I said, when I came back to trading, I decided I want to get back into trading. I saw, I think it was on TikTok, Zaki posted that he had a discount for Alpha Capital or something. So that's when I literally just jumped in. I was like,
and you said you got a 50k account.
I got a 50k account. Yeah, so I've never traded below a 50k ever in CFDs.
The thing is, it's all sort of relative insofar as that, like, when you get a challenge, like at first, like I said, free trials, demos, stuff like that's fine, and paper trading. Once you start trading, you just want to make sure it's an amount that is gonna hurt. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because you need to get used to the pain.
Yeah.
So for some people, a 5k account, they don't want to lose.
Depends on the situation,
$30,
right?
right? How much it is? Because some people that's a lot, right?
Of course.
But however much it is, you want it to be an amount that you don't want to lose.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you need to get used to that pressure of being like, I've got something riding on this.
Yeah. There's different ways of looking at it. There's how much do I not want to lose, and also how much do I want to make? Because as I was saying to you, the 50k, I just felt like if I could make a few percent a month, that would be enough to sustain me.
Yeah.
Sustain a living for in that moment.
Yeah.
And I just felt like anything smaller, there would be no point in me trying. So
100%.
So I purchased my first account ever prop firm with Alpha Capital in 2023, like early mid 2023.
Amazing.
And then I passed on my fourth challenge. So
nice.
I failed on the first three. I passed on my fourth. On that fourth one, I got 2 payouts.
Wow.
So obviously at that time, you used to get a refund on your first payout. So it's obviously that's all changed a little bit now. Now you get a 0.25% bonus on the fourth payout. But back then you used to get a refund. So I requested my first ever payout whilst I was on holiday in Egypt.
That's cool.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. In my head, I was thinking this payout covers the expense of this entire holiday. Like, it's a nice feeling. So yeah, I requested my first ever payout. I was paid out like pretty much on the same day. And then my second payout, I got 2 weeks after. And then after that, I blew the account, as you do. And then, as I was telling you earlier, I went 8-10 months without passing a single challenge. So in those 10 months, I was literally just blowing accounts. And these were 100Ks because now I've leveled up to 100Ks.
Yeah, I can do this now.
Yeah. So I leveled up to 100Ks now at this point. So I'm just rinsing through these prop firm accounts, right? So because I thought I got this strategy, I made it.
Yeah.
When I tell you this strategy was so basic, it was literally like, if I was to summarize it, it was literally just trading with the 4-hour trend, and it was an entry on a 1-hour candle on a double bottom pattern. At the point at which I got my first 2 payouts, I didn't even know what a break of structure or a fair value gap was.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know what a break of structure and fair value gap was. And I know that's not, like, it's not the be-all, end-all. Like, I know people are going to say, oh, ICT isn't, like, everything. But the fact that everyone in the space knows what a break of structure is. I didn't even know what a break of structure was at that point, but I've already got a payout. And there'll be people watching this who probably know more than I did then, but I've never got a payout.
Yeah.
But that's how simple trading can be, right? Like, I literally just used to trade with the trend. Entries on the 1-hour candle, if it's an uptrend, I trade on a 1-hour bullish candle close on a double bottom, but then I found eventually. So I got my payouts, and eventually I found that the strategy, it doesn't appear very often, and especially now, I very rarely see it because market conditions have changed so much. And in those next 6 to 10 months, I had to basically develop a whole new strategy. Basically, it does follow like the same concepts, but it's evolved so much, like you wouldn't be able to even recognize the 2 strategies, like if you were to compare them side by side.
And is that just from journaling?
Journaling
and
just adapting and just watching other people doing trade breakdowns and on YouTube and stuff like that. So I just used to take little bits of everyone's trading. Like my strategy is my own, but it's nothing special. Like it's just like little bits of everyone, and I just turned it into my strategy. So then I went all those months without getting funded, and then I had a breakthrough towards the mid to end of 2024. I passed a 100K for the first time in like maybe like 20 challenges. I don't know how many. I'd have to go back and count.
Yeah.
But with that, with that 100K, I was able to do some nice payouts
That's awesome.
and rack up like a significant number of payouts. And I was able to hold on to that account. Like I did lose that account in the end, but I held on to it probably for about, I think 6-7 months. I had that 100K
Wow,
account.
man, that's huge.
So I think that's like, and then I think in those 6-7 months, bi-weekly, I hit every single bi-weekly payout. I might have missed maybe 2 or 3 payouts in those 6-7 months, and then I just went through a bad phase and I blew that account. But obviously now I'm funded with Alpha Capital again, so I'm back. And, hopefully this time I'm not leaving.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Well, the thing is, like you said about getting 1% better every day. I mean, the fact that you got 2 payouts from your first pass is impressive, because a lot of the times people will get that first payout and then get a little bit
excited and
right.
You'd
be like,
let's
risk 3% on that trade instead, man. Right. So the fact you managed to do that is already good. But I think that the kind of self-awareness and reflection to know that you had to kind of adapt to get to where you wanted to go, right? And that is kind of one of these things of, people will say, well, trading is completely psychology.
Yeah. I didn't used to believe that.
Yeah.
When I didn't have a strategy, which is true. When you don't have a strategy, there's no point in worrying about psychology, right?
Exactly.
But they go hand in hand.
That's the point. Is you do need to have a strategy that works, right? And then the psychology comes in.
So people always ask, oh, what's the split between psychology and strategy? And in the beginning, it was always like, for me, it's strategy 100%, because if I have a strategy, I see it, I execute, I'll make money, I'll be rich.
Yeah.
But you don't realize that as you do develop a strategy, like I have my own strategy now I find the psychology part even harder.
Yeah.
Because I know what my strategy is, but why am I in trades that I know I shouldn't be in? So I would say it depends on the phase you're in. If you, like in the phase I'm in now, psychology is definitely more important. Like being able to just sit on your hands and do nothing, that's the hardest part about trading. Like there's days where I don't take a trade. It doesn't get any easier. Like I've started to find ways to occupy my mind in other ways, like except trading, because it's just damage. Like you just do damage. And if you can prevent yourself from doing that damage, it'll be a lot easier to bring yourself into profitability, because you're not taking silly trades and putting yourself in 5-6% drawdown, and now you have to take 2, 3, 4 trades to get yourself out of drawdown, right?
What people say is that it's not taking wins isn't the problem, right? You're not profitable because you can't find a good setup. You're not profitable because you take all the rubbish in between it, right? And I think that is the thing, you know. If we only took those really good trades and didn't do anything stupid, wow, imagine what our accounts would look like.
Oh, trust me, I'm still the same to this day. Like, I've gotten better at managing it, but that doesn't mean I'm a perfectionist, because there are traders who can literally wait a week, and then if they see the A+, they take it, and they go from their 100K balance, like their net balance, straight into profit, 103, 104K balance.
And then they've requested
payout ready to request.
Yeah.
I still have this bad habit of, I'll always get my account back from payout, and then I'll somehow get it into drawdown.
Yeah.
Like
first trade is a loss.
Yeah, first few trades are losses, and then I'll hit like one big win, and it will get me into profit, and then I'll request that. But if I could have prevented those losses, that payout would be so much bigger. Right. And that's what hurts me the most. And I always tell myself, once I've requested my payout, the next payout's going to be bigger. I'm just going to stop taking these stupid trades, and I'll just make sure I'll get one big trade, and I'll just get a big payout, like a decent sized payout. But even then, I'm still learning. The learning will never stop.
Honestly, man, like how long does it take to master something? That's the question, right? It's like, how long is a piece of string? It's like they say 10,000 hours.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I think they say for you to become a professional at something, you need to do it for about 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's hard, because if you were to quantify how many hours we put on the charts now, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I know.
Because there's been days where I've been on the charts for 12 hours, like literally just looking at candles, printing, and I'm not saying it's relatively efficient. Like my journey, I'm not saying it's efficient at all.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I'll enter a trade, and I know I shouldn't be sitting and watching that trade, but I'll still sit and watch it. And sometimes there's been times where I've just convinced myself that the trade's not going to play in my favor. I've closed the trade out. I'll close the trade out early at break even, or even at a slight loss. I've seen it go and hit TP, and now my head's gone, because I know I've broken my trading rule again. And I've hit TP. I should have hit TP, but why have I convinced myself that the trade wasn't going to play out? And is being in drawdown, even to this day, it's still uncomfortable. Like not account drawdown, but like the live trade drawdown. Like,
well, that's what I was going to say, because you trade on high time frames. Like for me, getting on lower time frames, at the very least, I'm in drawdown for, you know, a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then but for you to be in drawdown
it'd be
for
like a few hours sometimes.
hours,
Yeah.
how do you find that?
Oh,
'Cause-
it still hurts. Like
Yeah.
like especially if I'm holding a trade overnight while I'm sleeping, and I know that the trade could just play against me, right? So it's a weird one. You do get better at dealing with it, but it still does affect you mentally. And to be fair, it's the same in reverse. There'll be times where I'm 2R up in a trade and my TP is 3R. I'll always sit and ask myself, do I close out this trade? Can I sleep that night knowing that my trade could reverse on me and I could end up with a net 0 rather than a plus
Just
3?
banking it.
Yeah. But there's also times where I've closed that 2R and I've seen it go to 3R or even more. So again, as you become more experienced, you become better at managing your greed versus fear. That's the biggest thing.
Exactly.
Because I think that's the hardest thing. I don't think I'll ever be a perfectionist at managing greed versus fear. But I think being able to, if you close out a trade at 2R, you need to be okay with accepting that 2R.
Yeah.
Even if the trade does play out in your favor,
Yeah.
you should, in your head, you should think, this could have been 0. I should just be happy with that 2R, right? Like, you're just getting greedy if you're always thinking your TP is going to be hit.
Yeah.
But you'll be thankful if it did reverse and it hit you.
It's just having a system, right? Because if you're actually having to make that decision every time you're in a trade, you're going to drive yourself crazy because you're never going to be right.
Yeah.
You're never going
to be right. It's true. That's
right?
true.
If you're like, should I take
Yeah.
it at 2R or at 3R?
Yeah.
You're never going to be right.
No, that's true. Yeah.
You know,
I've had that even like last week. There was a few trades where I convinced myself to exit that I should have stayed in. But again, it's a part of my journey. I'm not saying I'm perfect in trading. I'm still learning. Literally, I'm still profitable, but I'm still learning every week.
Yeah.
So like you said, a system does help. Having a system does help. This is where discretion comes into play, right?
Yeah.
Because it's easy. It does make things easier to have objective rules, but sometimes you need to use your intuition. Because, for example, if your trade is sometimes I trade exotic pairs. Like I don't trade like just EU and GU like everyone else.
Yeah.
I trade like 20 different currencies.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can
if you trade a high time frame, you sort of can.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Which is hard to explain to a lot of people, but we can come to that if you want after. But like if my trade is around break even, for example, and I'm in a Euro NZD buy, for example, as an example, sometimes I'll just close the trade before 10 o'clock. Just because slippage at 10 o'clock can be crazy. And
spreads and all that,
I don't want to get slipped out. So sometimes you do need to use your experience and intuition to like make smart decisions.
Yeah, but I think you've been doing this long enough. You've got the experience to know the difference between that and fear or greed, right? That's the point. Like, a lot of times people will mistake those things of being like, oh, I was just using my gut, I was using my intuition, when actually you're just scared.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
And I think saying, I was in this trade, I put my TP here, but something's happened here that I can quantify and say that has nullified my initial thesis and I should close it, right? That's not the same as looking at the P&L and saying, oh my gosh, I'm $3,000 in profit and I don't want to lose that. That's not, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's having the experience, it helps you separate those two things.
Definitely.
Between saying, I should close it because we went above this level and we failed to close and now I'm seeing a reversal pattern, I'll close it, isn't the same as being like, I'm just going to close it now because what if it turns around, right? So that's the experience.
So I can give you a great example. So just recently, 2 weeks ago, we had FOMC. Yeah. I was in a GU buy on that day because and all my accounts were in drawdown. Like but my 100k eval on another prop firm and my live account with ACG was in drawdown. And so I typically risk from 1 to 1.5%. Like I said, my frequency of trades is lower, so I can risk a little bit more. And I knew FOMC was coming out at 7 p.m. UK. And I was talking to one of my other friends who trades, and he was telling me to move my SL to break even. And but I generally try to avoid moving my SL to break even if it's near my break even point, just because from my data I know that my break even's going to get hit, and then if we move, we're going to move after I get taken out. Yeah. So I held that trade through FOMC, and I managed to bank like 4.5R around that, maybe just under. But it would have been easy for me to. The old me would have been scared of FOMC. You know, high impact news, wicking me out or something along those lines happening, and just closing the trade early when I was up maybe 1 hour at the time. But then so I think with experience you know when you should be in a trade and when you shouldn't be in a trade. And so that trade is what got me my next. I passed my phase one with another prop firm, and then my ACG account went from drawdown into profit, and I requested the payout like the day after or something like that.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, as we're saying, you'll never be a perfectionist at these things. You'll never be able to. You'll never know when the market's going to bottom tick or top tick. You just need to be able to have a strategy and understand where probabilities are going to play out, right? So
Correct.
literally, as soon as I closed the trade on that GU position, the market just dumped. Like I don't know if you know exactly the day I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It literally pumped for like the first hour on GU, and then it's been dumping like crazy since. And generally, people say when the Fed reduces rates, that USD is bearish, right? And so everything else should be bullish, like GU, EU. So we got an initial push, but everything's been bearish since. So you can never actually know where the market is going to go. Like you just need to get a piece of the pie. You don't need the whole pie, and that's something people need to understand.
Yeah. The other thing, a side note, as far as like fundamentals and stuff like that go, and how these work on the higher time frames, and people not realizing what pullbacks are, mitigations are, all these sorts of things.
Yeah.
But people will say, "Oh, the Fed cut the rates, so US dollars should go down."
Yeah.
As if they're expecting it to print, for example, on GU, it would go up
just
like
straight,
a
just
vertical
straight,
candle, and then another one, then another one, then another one, then another one, then another one for the next 6 months.
Yeah, no, the people don't understand how the markets work.
Yeah,
because
it's like
they don't understand liquidity or either, and like all these other concepts which are very important to understanding how markets move, right?
So,
which is why I have this well, it's not really a debate, but people say are fundamentals and technicals both important? They're both important, but I always give technicals the most priority because you're trying to trade on the day. You're trying to catch a piece of the pie, as I said. I don't care where price is going to be in 6 months' time. I just need to know where price is going to be tonight or tomorrow. Like that's it. Like I don't need to know anything else. So I think when people look too much into the fundamentals, I think they start confusing themselves. And I don't know if you agree, but
no, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. And the thing is, like, these are the sort of people. There are people out there that kind of take things out of context and misquote and say things like trading should be simple, trading should be super simple, or following the fundamentals, just risk on but risk off. They're sort of taking that from people that trade like the weekly time frame on the S&P 500, and it's like, well, like if you're on an asset that only goes up, and you're trading on those sort of high time frames, it's like, just wait for a massive sell-off and buy it. But if you're trading intraday on a currency pair, it doesn't work like that.
The thing is, people always say trading should be simple and boring. It's like very subjective what you define as simple, because someone who's in their first year of trading, like that's not simple. The first few years are very difficult to understand that. I know some people say, oh, I mastered the technicals in 3 months, the first 6 months, but then my psychology is what held me back. I think it varies from person to person. I don't like my strategy. I think is relatively simple now, because I've refined it so much to where I can keep. The thing about strategies are it needs to be repeatable. If you have a strategy that's not repeatable and also shows up once a month, what's the chances you're going to actually follow that plan? You're not going to follow that plan. So you need to find something that's repeatable and also shows up not every day, but something that shows up regularly enough that you can make money off prop firms, right? So I think simplicity is always important, and obviously, as we said, having objective rules makes it easier, because how many times have we entered a trade and we tell ourselves we see something, like we can see something that follows our rules, but actually it's not there. Like we just convince ourselves that it's there, right? Like how many times have we been tilted? We've gone down to an even lower time frame to look for a break of structure on a lower time frame, to then try
to justify
getting into a position, right? Like I told you, the lowest I go is usually 15-minute time frame. But then there's been times in the past years where I've dropped down to like the 5 minute and the 1 minute and been like, oh, there's a break of structure on the 1 minute, so let me enter, because now I can use a 4 pip stop loss and catch 40 pips and catch a 1 to 10 and bring my accounts out of drawdown. We've all been there and done that. So when you talk to other traders, it's like everyone's almost had the same journey, like sort of thing.
100%. I think that's why it's good to actually chat with other traders, right? Whether it's like you're part of an online community or you have friends that trade. We have a lot of commonalities in our journeys together, and I think it's good to be able to sort of talk those things through and realize that it was all just part of the process, right?
And also it's good for people who are new to trading or not profitable yet to understand that it takes time, and these people you're seeing on Instagram and TikTok, they're only showing you their wins. They're, if you're seeing their Lamborghini, they've not shown you the previous years where they weren't, they could barely afford a toy Lamborghini. So
yeah, 100%.
so it's good to give people a reality check of what trading is actually like.
Yeah, and it's good to hear about your journey. So I guess the latter half of your journey has been quite successful, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you use the swing accounts, the alpha swing accounts?
No, I use the normal accounts. So I have to close the trades on Friday. Like, I can't hold it over weekend, so I close the trades before weekend. Because I'm not a swing trader. I don't like being in positions for too long. It's not a choice. It's just that's how the trades play out.
Yeah.
So if it was up to me, I'd love to be out of the trade in 2-3 hours, but
it takes a while on the higher time frames.
Yeah, on the higher time frames, like, sometimes the move doesn't even happen until the next day. Like, I'll be in the trade, the first 12 hours, I'm still at break even, and then sometimes it'll happen, and then sometimes it'll just go straight to stop loss. So it depends from trade to trade, right? But yeah, no, I have the normal.
So the pro account.
Pro account. Two-step pro account.
I mean, it's worth checking out the swing account, just because on those times where it might take a bit longer to play out, you can still hold on to it, which is useful.
Yeah.
If you need to.
Yeah.
And because you're trading on high time frames, the leverage will not mess you up. So.
Yeah. I think as I get like more funding and experience, I think for now I'm going to stick with my current like time frames. But as like I get older and like I have more commitments in life, I can see myself transitioning into swing. Just because just like keep emotions in check and just making sure that I'm still making money from trading, etc. So yeah. I think that's what the eventual plan will be. I can't see myself being a 1 minute trader. I've done futures as well before. Like, I've passed alpha futures.
Okay.
Getting to a payout is the hard part for me on futures, because I find repeatability on futures very difficult, especially because on the 1 minute time frame or the lower time frames, I just find there's too much noise that I can't actually understand what's happening. And the other part is because 15 minute is my preferred time frame. If you trade on the 15 minute on NQ, for example, you're just going to find that you're not going to even hit a 1 to 2 some days, because the market's so rangy, right? So I just find futures is
like you say, you just find a strategy and an asset that work together for you, right? Yeah. So if you can trade currencies on the high time frames, and it's got you to where you are, like why change it?
Why
right?
change?
Yeah.
But again, I guess this will tie into a lot of people. Even though you've got a winning strategy, you start looking elsewhere, because you can't help it. It's just
so human nature, right?
It's just human nature, right? It's just shiny object syndrome, right? Yeah. So because I look at the people in the future space and they're hitting 30, 40, 50k payouts, and you will know that CFD's 30, 40, 50k payouts is very difficult. Whereas like with futures, it's a lot more attainable. Not saying it's necessarily easier, but it's a lot more attainable, because if you get like 550ks and then you just have a banging month, or like a banging 2 weeks, and then next thing you know, you've got a 30, 40k payout.
Yeah, well, I mean, regardless of on the CFD side or the future side, it's just about capital.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you've got a strategy that's profitable, and you can make any amount of percentage consistently, you can make a 40k a month. You just need a bigger account.
Yeah, right? No, I agree. So with me, I've stopped trading futures. I'm just fully committed to CFDs for now. And the focus is on getting more funding. So like I said, I look up to people like Bani, because just being able to have, like, if you have, like, for example, let's say 100k accounts, just literally lock in 2k, move on to the next one, lock in 2k, move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And that's the eventual goal. Like, that's where I'd like to be in, like, I don't want to put a time on it, but in the coming years, let's go coming years, because I don't know how long it will take me to get there, but that's what we're aiming for, right?
So. Yeah, and that is the thing. Like, time frames are useful to an extent. Like, it's good to have goals, but it takes as long as it takes, man. But the fact is, like, if someone said it's going to take you another 5 years to be doing those sorts of numbers, are you going to say, oh, well, I can't bother, I'll just quit? Then?
No.
It's like, I don't care if it takes 20 years, man, to be making...
Because even in 5 years, like because we're not that old either, so it's like, you can still live... in 5 years, you're making, like, let's say, 6-7 payouts a month. Like, you're enjoying life still.
100%.
Like, you're enjoying life. Is that for me? I would rather grind in this for the next 5 years than go back to a corporate job and get it telling off because the type of font I used in the presentation was wrong.
Yeah,
like silly stuff like that. Like I can't accept like being treated Like in a corporate job, especially if you're like towards the bottom of the food chain, like
Yeah.
you know, you will get mistreated, I feel. So for me, I'd rather grind and go through another 5 years of pain in this than go through even a year of pain of that again. Like I just couldn't do it.
100%.
I just couldn't go back to corporate, man. It's not for me.
Yeah, that's it. You can be the master of your own destiny, man.
Yeah,
which is
exactly,
brilliant.
exactly. Like I said, I can accept me making my own mistakes.
Yeah.
But when you're doing something for someone else and you're just you're just being mistreated, or you're just being talked down on, I just can't accept that. So for me, I'd rather drive my own car, as I said earlier.
That's it, 100%. Well, it's been a fantastic chat, Robbie.
Yeah.
I mean, you say that you're sort of a midpoint in your journey. We all are.
Yeah.
Right? But the fact you've managed to get 18 payouts with
Yeah.
Alpha is crazy. And many more to come, man. And it's just going to keep on going up. So we'll have to catch up at another time when you've hit your stride, man. And
that's it. Next time, hopefully, there'll be significantly more numbers. But I'd love to be back and have another chat at some point in the future.
That's it. Amazing. All right. Thank you so much for coming
Thanks
down.
so much, man.
And we'll look forward to having a chat another time. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, leave a comment below and tell us if you found anything interesting about it. Watch the podcast with Banny if you haven't seen it, because he's absolutely amazing. And subscribe for more amazing podcasts just like this. So check out our Discord and all our socials, and we will see you in the next video.